Hello there.
Welcome, General Grievous, to the sixth episode of the Combat Mentor's Guide. Today, we're going to talk about the most underrated of the DPAs in this game, the range DPAs. Now, what is it there to expect from the range DPAs in Final Fantasy XIV? Well, let me tell you, there isn't much. So, before we begin, let us go to our old trusty pro skills to teach you guys real quick what all of this do. So we have leg brace. What is this? It will inflict a movement speed on your target so they are going to move slower. Second wind is just a personal healing. Full grace, it will bind the target to the ground so they are immobilized. But even if you use an auto attack, that effect is going to be removed. Peloton is just like a mini sprint that you can keep up 24/7 so long as you are outside of combat. Arm's length is going to be your knockback immunity, and head grace is going to interrupt your target. So I will give you a quick clip right now as to what interrupt those. Just take a look. Alright, now that we know how an interrupt looks like, another thing I wanted to share about the range DPS, it is that they also have a mitigation for the whole party, just like we talk about adult with casters. You have, for bars it's called Troubadour, Machinist Tactician, and Dancer Shield Samba. This is a 15% mitigation to any upcoming damage. So it's overall a better version than any other mitigation that currently exists in the game, except for shield healers. Now, what are the pros and cons of range DPS? Well, the advantage of range DPS is that you can move and shoot as much as you would like to, meaning that unlike melee that needs to be completely stuck on the boss's back, or casters that needs to be permanently casting in order to do something, with range you can just move as you wish and do as much damage as you want. Another benefit from range DPS, except Machinist, it is that their party buffs are usually better than those of any other DPS job. So most of the DPS jobs would only provide you with stuff like 5% damage increase, and I think the only exception will be Dragoon that provides you with a critical boost. Now, Dancers and Bars, they also have a 5% damage boost, 6% for Bar, and they also provide an additional benefit. So Bars provide 20% direct hit for the whole party, and Dancers would also provide a 20% critical and direct hit to their dance partner. Now, what are the flaws of range DPS? Well, a lot of range DPS needs to be keeping an eye on their skill bar for far too long, and this goes for all of them. So, Machinist is the easiest to keep an eye on because there is no RNG involved. Machinist, you just want to make sure that this, and this are off cooldown, and that you can use this skill whenever any of these skills have 8 seconds left to go off. Because if you use this when this is about 5 seconds from going off cooldown, it's going to drift, and that will be a DPS loss. Another issue, and this is more for the player than machinist or than the range DPS, sorry, it is being too complacent. So because you have a lot of movement and you can do the goody good stuff at all times, you're gonna feel like you have a lot of power to move around and do whatever you want, which you do, as a matter of fact, but it would always happen that you will face yourself hitting the edge of the arena or eating an AoE when you are not supposed to do that because That's why range DPAs have the advantage of being able to move freely. But because you can move so much, or to be more honest, because you have to keep an eye on your bard, you will always find yourself in that awkward situation where you're gonna get hit by something that you don't want to get hit. So that's one of the few issues that you need to keep an eye. But at the end of the day, I will be a good Souls player, and that is more of a skill issue on the player. Now, the other parts that I mentioned about keeping cooldowns, it goes with every individual job, which I'm gonna be explaining shortly. Now, the other issue with ranged DPS, it is their personal damage. So Machinist is the selfish DPS for range. Their personal damage compared to any other DPS, melees or casters, it is equals or worse. And considering that you do not have any party utility, this lets you know that machinists, although they can deal big numbers, they are not the best character that you can use in order to deal the highest amount of damage in a raid fight. As a matter of fact, sometimes when the 14 community shows their true colors and become tryhards, they will ban machinists from the party finder so that you can only bring bard or dancer. That's just how bad it is. Machinist is good, by the way, but the other players are bad and they want you to overcompensate by bringing a better job. Dancer and Bar's personal damage, it is so bad that there could be some times where a tank can out DPS you. So if we're talking about a crafted gear range DPS like myself and a best in slot tank, the chances are pretty high for the tank to out DPS me, by the way. That's just how bad the range DPA's personal damage is. Now, I will be giving you guys a quick insight of at least a minute and a half of how each of these jobs are played, and then I will show you a dungeon run where I will be explaining what I'm doing or why I am doing it, so you guys can have a better understanding on how the range works. Now, how do I know about their personal damage and all of that? That's for me to know and for you to find out. So I will see you there.
All right then, keep your secrets. You've been officially labeled a disturber of the peace.
Alright, so when it comes to Bard's gameplay, there isn't really too much to explain, but it will be harder to play it than to just say it. So the main purpose of Bard, it is to apply your damage over time when it comes to a boss fight only. Um, you need to keep an eye that your damage over time does not expire, and also to keep an eye on every proc that you have. If you look at the upper bar that says Wanderer's Minuet, there are gonna be like two little diamonds or hexagons. Well, that's not a hexagon, but whatever. That are gonna be fulfilled every 3 seconds with an RNG chance. It's not guaranteed that it happens. So when you have three of those, you would like to shut it up and deal the big damage that you're supposed to do. Now, here shortly, you will notice how the debuffs are about to expire, and I will need to refresh them, and you will see the lower bar, which, as I'm speaking now, it should be 100. That is your big damage heal that you want to use as soon as you have that bar on 100 or by your 2 minutes buff window. So that is the main purpose of bar. Apply your dots, refresh your dots, keep an eye on every proc that you have available so that you can keep your damage on going. Also, that while evading mechanics, moving and doing all of that. It sounds fun. Let's take a look at Dancer next. So Dancer. Dancer is all about dancing, checking your moneymaker, and buffing your party and your ally. I don't have any ally because I am maidenless in game and in real life, so I can only show you this low budget gameplay that I'm providing you right now. But other than that, to be fairly honest, Dancer is not really complicated, and as a matter of fact, I will even consider Dancer to be the easiest of the range DPAs because Honestly, it's gonna be hard at the beginning to keep an eye on every proc that you may or may not have. But if you look well at the screen, you will notice that at every here and there will be a new skill proccing, and now that the F2, which is the dance, is about to come out, I would like to use it, because that will refresh the damage buff that I have on my bar, which if I had a dance partner, it would also refresh it for them as well. So what is the point here? You just want to press your 1, 2, which may proc in the case of my skill bar, my 4 or 3. And my 4 or 3 could proc a fan, which you can stack up to 4 times, so I can use it. Because I'm not playing in an optimal environment, I'm just pressing buttons, which is how I will expect a lot of you people to play if you're absolutely new to the class. Because if you try to optimize from the get-go, you're gonna have a hard time. So just play along with the class, and once you learn how to optimize and deal the best of damage, you will be able to do so. But I will try to help you on that when I release the personal dancer guide for this. Now let us go ahead and take a look at Machinist, shall we? So Machinist. Like I explained before, I believe, the main purpose of Machinist it is to always keep your big damage kills off cooldown, which is what I'm doing right now. Of course, it's gonna be slightly harder as you're gonna get used to the class itself, but with some practice and experience, you will be able to get it. In fact, I think that I made a mistake on that opener, but I will use as an excuse that this is to show you guys how the job plays and not how to optimize the render. Yeah, that's gonna be my excuse. But excuses aside, the main thing that you're gonna notice here that I will do, it is that I will always try to click my big damage buttons, which are the ones on my F1, F2, F3, and I will always be mindful on the gauge. As you can see here, now I'm gonna active hypercharge because none of my big damage kill was exactly at 8 seconds or below. If you look at the timer, right after that is over, I will be able to use once again the big damaging skills to keep dealing a big amount of damage. So that's all that you really need to worry about, Machinist. Just try not to overlap your big damage kills and make sure as much as you can, as I point out with the mouse over there, to use the big damage button. That's all. You can even make mistakes, by the way, where you're going to drift the big damage kills. And of course, that's not going to be fine in an optimal environment, but I don't want you to be optimal right now. I just want you to know and feel how the class is played. You will have a lot of room for mistakes, even in content like Savage, even in Ultimates, I believe. People do mistakes and they are able to clear them. So don't be afraid of doing something wrong. Nobody's gonna see your rotation because they're gonna be completely focused on their own rotations. So right, let us go ahead show you the clip on the dungeon round that I did with Bard. It's just gonna be the first two pulls and the first boss. And that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. So let's enjoy. So I'm going to do the hardest achievement in my life, and it's not talk more than I should. I'm just gonna explain briefly what is my mindset in this dungeon pulls over here, and what you can expect to do whenever you're playing a ranged games. So this logic and principle that I'm doing here is applicable to everyone. You want to run with the mob pool, you want to be as close to your tank as possible, because it may happen that your tank miss one of the enemies, and you may have the aggro on them, so you want to be close to your tank so they can just AoE again and get the one mob that ran away from the pack and that was attacking you. But aside from that, it's just pretty much normal logic, like it's just common sense. You will just want to AoE the pack and just pull out your damaging skills as soon as you can. This you're gonna hear me say this a lot of time with the upcoming videos, which is just gonna be melee DPS and tank that we have left. But honestly, that is the only thing that you need to worry in Final Fantasy XIV. I always say that this is the easiest MMORPG that I have played in my life, And as of this moment, I haven't been proven wrong, even when I try playing another MMO, because this one is currently dead right now. As you notice, I'm just chilling. Like, there is no big brain, it's just me using my AoE, rotating the songs, which is the main purpose of Bard, and just dealing damage. That's all. Just for clarification, I'm gonna say this in each individual jobs, but most of the AoEs for range DPAs, they are a gain on two. But sometimes when there are two enemies, it's better to single target. That is only if you're a nerd and you want to, well, actually, I want to hyper optimize this fight, but you don't need to. It's a regular dungeon. This is what people consider to be trash content. I like it because that's where you begin, and they can be entertaining to pass some time, but overall, you don't need to beat yourself too much. Unless you want to perfectly optimize your gameplay, which I would recommend, because if you want to start playing like a pro, you need to start somewhere else, and this is the best place to start in order to become better with your class. But alright, as you notice, I didn't have any issues moving there. I was able to keep dealing damage because of the range DPA's benefits of moving along without having to worry about a single issues. Now, if you have any wonders about what I did there and how that didn't hit me, it is because your actual hitbox, it is in between your legs. So imagine that in between your character's legs, there is like a little dot. That will be your actual hitbox. It's not your entire body. So there are some mechanics that you will be able to skip, and some others that it will be better to just run to the obvious safe zones. But honestly, I'm just gonna wrap up my yapping over here. The only thing I gotta say it is to look forward, of course, to the next video, which is gonna be the melee DPA. I can sort of imagine that some people want to look into that because for God knows why, a lot of people love playing melee. So we will be talking about them. The rest, let's just watch the monster die. So I'm just gonna say for now, thanks all for watching. I may probably be cringe, and as I'm speaking right now, at the moment of editing, I may play some image, maybe I will just keep it as it is. Who knows? So, yeah, thank you for watching. If you like the video, of course, make sure to leave a like, comment if possible, subscribe, please. I will really appreciate that. Um, I'll be seeing you later. Goodbye.